Okay, good evening, everyone. We'll get started here in a minute or two. We're just waiting on some final interpreters to join us, but we did want to get through this initial process too for those of you that are on the line now or watching. My name is Tisork Dasan. I am a consultant on behalf of the city of Alhambra for this redistricting process. While we wait for others to join us, I just want to go over some language interpretation options for those of you that may need it. So if you would like information in Mandarin, Cantonese, or Vietnamese, you can go ahead and click that button there at the bottom, the interpretation button. If you click on it, you'll see options to hear this meaning in Mandarin, Cantonese, Vietnamese. If you select any of these options, basically you'll be able to hear that language louder than the English audio. So you'll be able to follow along exactly with what's being said. Additionally, if anyone has any questions in Spanish, myself or Hope, who are on the line, can interpret for you in real time. And if at any time during this meeting anyone has a question, please activate the raise your hand feature there at the bottom of your screen. That will let us know that you have a question, and we'll make sure that you have the time to answer it. So we'll go ahead and get started here. Again, my name is Tisork Daslan. I am joined by Andrew Westall and Hope Huerta. We are consultants for the city of Alhambra on this redistricting process. Additionally, we are joined by some city staff, and at this time I'd like to introduce Mayor Lee.
Thank you, Tisork. Good evening, everyone. Welcome and thank you for taking time of your schedule to join us for this important meeting. We look forward to telling you more about the redistricting process and why your participation is important to us. Our consultant Tisork will have a presentation on how redistricting works. Just a reminder, if you have questions, please type it in the chat box, or if you can use the raise hand feature, and we'll take your questions at the end. Now I'll turn it over to Tisork to get started with the presentation.
Thank you very much, Mayor Lee. And just a quick reminder for those of you that may be calling in, if you'd like to ask a question, press *9. That acts as the raise your hand feature. Additionally, press *6 to unmute when it is time to ask your question. So we'll go ahead and get started. Again, this is the redistricting workshop for the city of Alhambra. This is the 4th workshop in our series of 5 pre-draft map workshops. So we're really grateful for you to join us. Again, this redistricting process is something that happens every 10 years as a result of census numbers. Every 10 years, districts must be redrawn so that each district is substantially equal in population. Why is redistricting important? So we'll just go ahead and follow along here. And basically how and where districts are drawn can shape communities' ability to elect the representatives of their choice. So districts must be made as equal in population as practical so that communities have equal access to political representation. And again, we are currently in the 4th workshop of 5 here in November, with a pre-draft public hearing slated for December, and a draft map adoption for January, and the 2 more public hearings are in February, with the final map adoption slated for March. As you can see, we are still at the beginning, toward the beginning of this process. That being said, we're really grateful for you to join us now. It's integral that we try and get as much public input from the community as possible. Some of the legal criteria for redistricting. So again, this is a process that happens every 10 years. So there's a lot of different concepts to go over. The legal criteria for redistricting is the equal population principle. the U.S. Constitution's Equal Protection Clause, the Voting Rights Act of 1965, and some traditional redistricting criteria, which we will go over in a little bit more detail now. Again, that traditional redistricting criteria, some of the things that we look at is a contiguity. So all parts of a district should connect. Compactness, so districts should be geographically compact. And we're looking at existing boundaries. So districts should utilize boundaries such as geographic, street, and political boundaries and conform to school attendance zones. And last is communities of interest. So a district should preserve neighborhoods and communities of people sharing common interests. So this is just what the current City of Alhambra district map looks like. So this is what you have had. If there were to be no changes, this is the map that you would have. Obviously, we are in the process of gathering information to see how the lines will be drawn. But this is your current district map. Again, we are trying to gather as much information from the community as possible. We want residents to be engaged in this process to make sure any questions they have, any comments that they have are being heard, and how you can provide that public input. First and foremost, you're at this workshop, so we appreciate you joining us tonight. We certainly encourage you to attend our next one on Thursday as well, and invite others to join us as well. That being said, these workshops are meant so that we can answer your questions in real time. But if at any time you'd like to send a public comment form, you can access that through the city's website. So at cityofalhambra.org, there is a redistricting site that you can access from there that's dedicated completely to this process. So you can submit a public comment form at any time through that site. Additionally, you can, if you want to take the next step and not only submit comments, but if you'd like to draw your own map and submit that for consideration, we'd appreciate you doing that as well. And you would submit that map to lmiles@cityofalhambra.org. The next step for that map process, if you'd like to actually use an online mapping tool, that is also accessible through the cityofalhambra.org. And that's the site is District Builder that it takes you to. It's a very useful tool. As far as these tools go, it's fairly easy to use. It helps you to know in real time exactly, block by block while you're creating your districts, what the population is there, the ethnicity, and just a lot of useful information for you as the community to be able to see. So it's something that you can, and we'll go into it a little bit more later, but it's something that you can play with and save your work and come back to it and submit directly through there. So it's definitely something that we encourage you to take a look at. Now, what are some of the types of things that we are looking for from the community? Any questions you have, we'd like to answer to make sure that you are, feel like you are understanding all of this process. But some of the information from you, the residents, that we'd like to gather, because no one knows their communities and their city more than you, the residents, is what streets, boundaries, or points of interest define your community. So this is just a question for you. Does your community have major geographical boundaries? Is your community similar to other neighboring communities? And last, what are your shared interests? Now, why is it important to protect communities of interest? To preserve communities that share common interests and should be included in a single district in order to have effective and fair representation. So examples of shared interests are housing patterns, common culture, language, public services, and points of interests. Again, just an overview of the public workshops that we have had. we had one November 4th, 9th, and 10th. We are currently at the November 16th workshop, and we will have one more on Thursday at 6 o'clock again, virtually via Zoom. Now, this is just a little look into the website that I was referencing. So again, if you go to the City of Alhambra page, you can link directly from there. Anything having to do with the redistricting process is there for you. Frequently asked questions. The information is translated as well for you there, so you can access the mapping tool, the public comment form. If at any time you have a few minutes tomorrow, the day after, certainly recommend you jumping on the site and navigating anything that you like to know or to access from there. Again, the public comment form this is what it looks like. Again, this is just your comments as to whether it's communities of interest, things that you find similar in your neighborhood, in your block, in your street, whatever it is that's important to you. We'd really like to hear it, and you can submit that information through the public comment form. This form center has, again, anything relating to the redistricting process as relates to the City of Alhambra. That information is here. And if you were interested in trying to access that online mapping tool, this is what it would look like. You'd click there at the bottom, and it would take you to those templates to help you create your own district of boundary lines. And again, happy that you've joined us here for this workshop. We have that website there for you to be able to access information at any time. That being said, the old rules still apply. If at any time you would like to email the city clerk's office directly, that's at lmiles@cityofalhambra.org. If you'd like to talk to someone, more than welcome to pick up the phone and call directly to 626-570-5090. Everyone is on board and hoping to get as much information from residents as possible. So the City of Alhambra team is accessible. Us as consultants are accessible. We want to, again, try and get as much information from you, the community, as possible. So with that, we are done with the presentation itself. If anyone has any questions at this time, again, please use the raise your hand feature. Additionally, if you are calling in, please press *9. That will act as the raise your hand feature, and then you'd press *6 to unmute yourself. So it was really helpful during our last workshop. Andrew actually walked us through the online mapping tool. So Andrew, do you mind actually taking us through the online mapping tool again?
Sure. Thank you, Giselle. Happy to do so. So I'm going to start with sharing my screen here. That's not letting me. Van, can you allow me to share my screen? Or actually, Van, if you make me a co-host again, that would solve the problem.
I think you're still the host.
No, I transferred it back to you. There we go. Thanks, man. So here we have the City of Alhambra's redistricting website. as Tasok walked you through, all the information you need to know about the process is on this website. As he mentioned earlier, we have everything translated in Chinese, Spanish, and Vietnamese, and you can find some of those important documents here. You can find a variety of documents under the public comment form as well. As you can see with this website, it's also, you can translate it into a variety of languages. If you just go to the select language button down here on the far bottom right. And so here you can see where we have everything in Chinese, for instance. To get to the online mapping tool, there are 3 places on the website where you can access it. You can see up here on the top left corner, there's a button that you can link and click on to get to it. There's also a couple places at the bottom of the web page where you can also click on here and here to get to that online mapping tool. As you can see with our process as well, all the dates in the process are here. That's coming up. And we'll be back in front of the City Council discussing this subject on December 13th in about a month. So we'll just come back up to the web page and we'll click on the top link up here on the left-hand page. Once again, the interactive online mapping tool. And it will tell you that you're leaving the city's website, and you just hit proceed to the site, and it will take you to the District Builder homepage. So this is the homepage for the online mapping tool for the city of Alhambra. As you can see, we have about a dozen people working on maps currently. Some of them are staff and some of them are other folks. I'll come get you later. Okay. And so what you want to do first is you want to come up here into the right-hand side and hit this button that says register. And so what you want to do is you want to be able to create an account first, put your name and email and a password in, and then just hit let's go. And that's all the information they need for you to get your account. I already have an account, so I just go down here to the login page and put in my email and password. And once again, it'll take you back to this page right here. So on this page, there's, once again, a little bit of information about the process. You can click on this link right above, which will take you back to the city's redistricting homepage. And you have 2 options to draw a map. You can start with a blank map, or you can start with the current city council districts. And so we'll start with the blank map, and then I'll show you a lot of the features, and then we'll go to the current map too, and I'll show you how that may work. And so you just click on where it says use this template. And it takes you directly to the city of Alhambra's geography here. You have a couple of different places where you can choose geography. You have census blocks, which are much tinier areas of geography. And then you can also use block groups. And I would suggest starting with block groups to get to the ideal districts that you're looking for, and then you can refine them once again using those census blocks. On the left-hand side of the page here, you have the city's population at 83,180 people. You can also look at the composition of the city, which is 52% Asian and 36% Latino. And you can see right here, this is the ideal district size. This is the population that you're trying to ideally get to, which is 16,621 per council district. And in the city of Alhambra, we have 5 council members, so 5 districts. Right up here next to block groups, you have different tools that you can use to select those block groups. You have a point and click. You can use a rectangle, or you can use a paintbrush, and just give you an idea of what these things look like. So this is, once again, the point and click. If you don't like an area, say, well, maybe I don't want that in my district. You can click on other blocks, but you can also deselect. In terms of the rectangle, you just draw a rectangle, right? And it'll pick up different parts of the city. And then with a paintbrush, you can just hold down the pointer on your mouse and you can just paint over the area that you're looking at. And so those are the three different tools that you can use to actually draw maps. When you want to start with a district, you want to make sure that you select that particular district, right? So we have District 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we'll start with District 1, and we'll start selecting some geography and see where we get. So let's start on the west side of the city. And we can select a few blocks here. As you can see, up on, once again, the left-hand side, it's adding population with each one of these areas that we choose. And so just in those 5 areas right there, it's 5,716 people. But we still need to add 10,905 more to get to that population balance. And once again, you can deselect areas or you can select areas depending on if you like what you're drawing. And so we'll just keep coming down here. It'll also, as you can see, it'll show you the breakdown of ethnicity by each of the block groups and the total population. So in this area right here that I just selected, we have 806 people, and it's a majority Asian community, but also a very heavy Latino population. So we'll just keep going down and keep selecting areas. You know, we're getting closer here. That's like 12,000 people. Maybe we don't like that one, so we'll come back up here, maybe. And we just keep selecting until you get to that number that you're looking for. So as soon as you get to an ideal number, you'll see this green checkbox over here. And that means the district meets the total deviation tolerance. In general, we don't have to get exact population, but you do have to be roughly within 5% of either side. So once again, 5% less than 16,621 or 5,000 more. And so that's enough population for one district there. And so when you're ready to select a certain area, you hit accept. If you don't like that and you want to start over, you can always hit cancel, but why don't we go ahead and hit accept. And there's our first district. So there's District 1. And so why don't we continue to District 2? Once again, you want to click on the left-hand side of the district you want to select. You can see it's in a very light gray here, but it is highlighted. And so we'll go with our next district. And so we can start selecting again and picking areas of the city. There we go. So we're a little heavy on that one, right? So as you can see, you know, the arrow pointing up means we have too much population. Pointing down means we have too little population. So we want to take out that one little area, and we have 16,538 people in that area. And so we're just over 80, just under 83 of what's ideal. And so that's a good looking district in terms of population. And so you want to hit, once again, accept. And there we have our district number 2. So on to District 3. Once again, we'll just start selecting areas here. So right there, that's another district for us. Once again, it's just under 541 people, but we got our green check mark. And so we have enough people in that district. And then we hit accept again. Then with District 4, let's come up here and select other portions of the city. And so that's another district right there, right? We have our green check mark, and so you can accept that as well. And then our last district, district number 5. And there we go. We have a green check mark there as well. And so you can, once again, you hit accept. And then there we have 5 city council districts. As you can see up here in the top box, once this is all 0, that means you've allocated all the population in the city to one of the 5 districts. And so you want that green check mark there because you want to assign all the population in the city. As I mentioned before, you can also go to the block group level. Maybe there are certain areas, that we're a large block group, but you didn't like where exactly that population was. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to you. Maybe you think everyone that lives north of Main Street should really be in one council district. And so you could do something like this. Excuse me. Let's back up here. So the Brown district, right? That's our district number 4. And so we could start selecting census blocks. And as you can see, it's a much smaller level of geography, and do something like that. And say we like that better. But now you can see that, we have too much population in both of these districts. And so we're going to have to take a little something out. It's pretty clean lines there. So we want to do something a little different. Let's go over to district number 5 and take out enough population so that we have the right numbers we're looking for. So you could do something like that. That gets us back there. Although we still have a problem between district 3 and 5. And so we're once again rotating the population around to get some cleaner lines. So maybe we come down here, down this area, just south of Valley, kind of between Valley and Norwood, and say we want to put this, want to put some of this area north of Valley, let's say up to San Marino, into our purple district here, district 3. And so once again, you click on district 3 and you just start adding population. All right, actually, let's try that again. We actually need to reduce that out of 3. So as you can see, I was looking at the check marks wrong here. So we actually have to take population out of 5 and put it into 3. So let's select district 5 and we'll come over here. Let's see if we can clean this up, kind of everything east of Garfield. See if that gets us to where we want to be. And see, we still don't have our green check marks back, so we'll just keep going up. Try a little more here. Ah, there we go. So we'll add all that once again to our district 3. And once again, we're back to population. And so once you achieve your ideal population in your districts, you can really start, as you can see, play around with it, kind of straighten out some of those lines, make the shapes look a little better, and once again try to find districts that match what you think the different neighborhoods and the different boundaries of the city of Alhambra within the city look like. Once you finish your plan, then what you can do is you can come over here and you can hit this evaluate button, and so it will look at various things here. So equal population, you want to make sure this is 5 of 5 here, right? And those green check marks will help you get there because those are equalized population. You want to make sure your districts are contiguous, right? So you don't want a portion of District 1 to be over here, or a portion of District 2 to be up in the corner here. You want to make sure all of the district is all in one geographic area. And so here it'll tell you that you meet the contiguity requirements. And then you've also got competitiveness is something that you won't see on here in the state of California. When it comes to city and county redistricting, we cannot use partisanship data, so you won't see anything. This really deals with Democrats versus Republicans and independents. And so you won't have any information here on competitiveness. Compactness is important as well. We can make these districts a little more compact. It's not the most important of these criteria. It's really, once again, these contiguity and equal population and what you think of your community that matters most, but compactness is also important. You can see here, and if you click on majority minority, it'll tell you what different districts you have. So in this configuration, we have 3 majority Asian districts, and districts 5, 3, and 2. And then in district 1 and 4 are minority coalitions. And you can look, once again, click on the demographics here, right? So district 1 in this case is 40% Latino and 40% Asian. And district 4 is 49% Asian and 30% Latino. And so you can look and break down those demographics as well. And this evaluation tool is very helpful just to help you identify different areas of the city and once again, be able to check all those requirements that are required by state and federal law that will follow throughout this process. If you're really into GIS, you can also come up here and hit this export button. You can export the information into an Esri shapefile or into a GeoJSON file, which is used in areas in a lot of GIS programs, or in a comma delimited file where it'll give you the information as well. Most of you wouldn't use that, but if you're really into GIS, you would understand what these things mean and be able to utilize that as well. So that's how you draw a map. You know, those are the various tools. As we talked about before, you do have 2 options. And so this is the one option if you want to start from scratch. If you go back to the landing page for the city of Alhambra, you can click on a template that has the current council districts. And so these were as the districts were drawn back in 2011. Sometimes the website just takes a second to load, so you just got to give it a quick second there. And so these are what your current council districts look like in the city of Alhambra. As you can see, with the population deviations, if the city council chose to, it wouldn't have to change this map at all. You know, we go through this process because it's required by law, but given the growth in the city of Alhambra over the last 10 years, it's been very even throughout the city. And so one option that the council has is to adopt the current map if they so choose to. But you know, certainly in some of the public comments we've heard, particularly with respect to south of the 10 freeway here in this area of Granada Park, they would like to be kept whole in one district. And so why don't we go ahead and see what that looks like by moving some geography around and see if we can get back to a population deviation that's proper. So if we start with District 4 here, and once again, click on it on the left-hand side of the screen, and then you can select these 2 areas that are, once again, this is the 10 freeway here. So this is the area of the city of Alhambra that's south of the 10 freeway. And so why don't we add that area into District 4 so that Granada Park is all in one district. There we go. So as you can see, now we have population equality issues. District 4 has 2,063 too many people, and District 5 needs to lose, District 5 needs to pick up about 3,050 people. And so we can click on District 5 because we need to add to District 5. And so we can once again point on our clicker. Why don't we use the paintbrush this time? Come down here. That's not quite enough people there. We can click on there. So we have enough people in District 3, but we still need to add to District 5. So why don't we just accept that? We'll start there. But you don't have to add a whole lot of people. And so maybe, once again, you can go to a lower level of geography like blocks, and we can select from there as well. So if we come over here to Marengo Avenue, that gets us close. Maybe we want to come over a little bit farther. Now we have green checks everywhere. If we take it over to Margarita Avenue, everything, once again, north of Ramona and the freeway, and we accept that. And once again, we have all our green checks. We have good districts based on population and contiguity. We've put Granada Park all together in one council district. So there's another option that the council could choose to review. As we go through this process, any of the maps that you put together on this website will be sent to the city council and considered during the process that takes place over this next few months. I'll take you quickly back to once again, the webpage for the city. And you can see we're going to be back once again in front of the city council in a public hearing on December 13th. The council at this time is tentatively scheduled to adopt a draft map on January 24th at the council meeting that evening. The draft map or draft maps that will be considered by the city council will have to be published on this website 7 days in advance of the city council meeting. And so be sure to return here around January 17th if you want to see what the draft map or draft maps that the council is considering looks like. And then the council will have 2 public hearings on those draft map or maps and request any adjustments that they'd like to have in those maps. And that would take place at the council meeting on February 14th, and then again on February 28th. And then on March 14th, the council will adopt the final map for the next 10 years. And once again, that map must be published on the city's website at least 7 days in advance. And so you can also return here around March 7th, and you can see what that final map that the council is likely to adopt looks like. And so with that, that's the complete demonstration. I'm happy to take any questions that anybody may have about the District Builder website or anything else. But to Silke, I'll hand it back over to you, see if we have any questions, and see if the mayor has any other questions for us as well.
Oh, yes, thank you. I have a quick question here. What is the deadline for submitting the input or a map to be considered before the draft maps are completed?
Sure, that's a great question, Mayor. I would say no later than January 10th. And so once again, the draft map will be published, or draft maps will be published on the city's website on January 17th. And so I think a good rule of thumb there is a week before that deadline, I would submit any of the maps that you want to submit to the city, or complete your maps on District Builder, and we'll check the District Builder site and review all of those maps, and once again make sure they get included in the staff report to the City Council.
Okay, thank you. So I believe I heard the date January 10th or prior to that.
Yes, so January 10th or anytime prior to that. So you have basically about 7.5 weeks to work and really refine your map.
Thank you. That actually looked very interesting to me, the mapping tool. I think it was very informative. Hopefully people take advantage of that. And the last question for me is, aside from these public workshops, when are some of the other opportunities for residents to provide comments and ask questions?
So that's once again, it's a great question, Mayor. So let me just come back to the city's website. And so as Silke talked about before, once again, there are opportunities to give your comments directly to the City Council. And the first opportunity, we have another workshop in a couple of days on the 18th, but the council, the entire City Council will hear your public comments on December 13th. And then you also can email the city clerk anytime to submit information or request information. As we talked about before, you have a public comment form on the website, which looks like this, and you can fill it out. Yeah, as you can see here, we also have PDFs of the public comment form in Chinese, Spanish, and Vietnamese. If you want to just download the PDF and submit that to the city clerk's office. City clerk's email is lmiles, at cityofalhambra.org. Or you can just come on here and click on the public comment form and just fill out the information on the public comment form and then hit the submit button here on the bottom, which is probably the easiest way to do it. Once again, if you're having difficulty with English, this website translates. And so there's the Chinese again. You can also translate it, let's say, into Vietnamese, so that you have opportunities to fill it out that way as well. Why don't we pull up the last slide from the presentation again, which has the contact information so that everyone knows the phone number and the email once again that we can call. There we go. So you can also call the city clerk's office, and the phone number is right there. Once again, you can always email the city clerk and send information to her. You can draw out a map and take a picture of it and send it to the city clerk's office. You don't have to use the public comment form. You can send any comments you want in, and we'll evaluate all of those and summarize them. And once again, give all of that information to the city council so that they can make the best informed decision, and they really have a good understanding of how you view the city of Alhambra.
So thank you very much for those questions, Mayor Lee, and thank you much for that demonstration, Andrew. So just a reminder, folks, of this process is integral. These lines being drawn will remain for the next 10 years. So it is a very important process. If you were able to follow along with what Andrew was doing in his demonstration, trying to create those district lines, without knowing the residents, without knowing the people, without knowing the human component to it, they're just numbers and they're streets, and so it's difficult to be able to know exactly when you draw a line, whether you're separating folks that share the same church, whether you're separating folks that use the same grocery stores, or so that's the type of information that we're hoping to gather from you, the residents, to make sure that as much as possible, whether everyone in your community speaks a particular language, that has particular transportation needs, all those types of things are crucial to this process. And so we look to you, the residents who know the city the best, to be able to provide us that information. We certainly would love for you to be able to draft your own map, either by hand or using the online mapping tool. But even if it's just a comment that's specific to your own neighborhood, we'd really like to hear that as well. So please don't get overwhelmed by all the information, all these concepts. At the end of the day, we're trying to make sure that populations and pockets of people with shared interests are able to remain in the same district, so that their voice is amplified and heard throughout the electoral process. So with that, are there any questions from residents? Again, if you are calling in, you are to push *9, and that acts as the raise your hand feature. Are there any questions from city staff or mayor? Or do you have any additional questions?
Oh, no, I don't have any additional questions.
Awesome. Okay, seeing no other questions, we'll go ahead and close the workshop. Again, I thank you for attending. We are having another workshop this Thursday at 6 p.m. again via Zoom, so we'd certainly welcome you back. But just a reminder again, if at any time you'd like to send an email to our city clerk, that's lmiles@cityofalhambra.org. Phone number 626-570-5090. And again, all the information regarding this process is available via the city's website, so cityofalhambra.org. We are, again, relatively early in the process, but as Andrew mentioned with those deadlines, the sooner we can get some information from you, the sooner the better. But as you mentioned, you have about 7.5 weeks to submit that final map and commentary. So with that, I think we'll go ahead and close for the evening. We look forward to hearing from you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you. Good night.